Legendary Mr. Skin.
Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts Mr. Skin, Jimmy Fela, and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Episode 32 of the world-famous, internationally renowned Mr. Skin Podcast. A lot of people lost money betting that we wouldn't make it this far. Good afternoon, everybody. Jimmy Fallon in the building. We're getting the band back together.
So excited to have Jimmy back.
What a treat, right? I mean, wow. What a wild time to be alive here in America. Jimmy Fallon back on the Skin Podcast, joined, of course, by the great Andrea Lowell and, of course, Mr. Skin. Hi, everybody. I missed you guys.
The gang's back.
We missed you
so
too.
Happy.
Hey, I want to say this. I especially missed you, Jimmy, the morning after the Super Bowl, which I had to do a show with only Andrea, who knows nothing about sports.
And he made sure not to be demure about it. He's like, well, I guess I can't talk to you, Andrea, about the game. Like, he really needed his guy
I was all excited. I was all excited to talk about the game. It's like the one time I don't need to talk to Andrea is the morning after the Super Bowl.
Skin, I really feel for you, because she's sitting there like, I heard Tom Brady hit a home run. That must have been awesome.
Yeah,
hey, I do have a question though.
Why
Why is he known as the GOAT?
Oh,
greatest
that's an acronym.
Of all time. Greatest of all time.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, now
well,
I know.
here's the thing, Andrea. Sometimes Giselle goes away for a long period of time.
Yes.
And he doesn't want another woman because, their vows and no, nothing like that. Nothing of the sort. He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT because he actually did sell his soul to the devil, I believe.
I am with
straight
you.
up.
Okay.
And has now won 5 Super Bowls, the last 2 in miraculous fashion.
Wow.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean,
were
really.
Jimmy, were you watching that at a party or were you like at home alone?
I was at a Super Bowl party, but my family is like me. They all do have a gambling problem.
Yeah.
So there is like an intensity and a respect for the game when it's on.
Wow.
Right.
I actually come from one of those families that talk during the commercials. Most families don't pay attention to the game and they consider the commercials the best part of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
But for my family, we're talking about like actual life and death is happening in front of us on the screen.
Big money at stake.
Yeah, that's if the Patriots don't win that game, there's a very good chance I'm powdering my Adam's apple and selling handies in the meatpacking district. So as rough as your morning after was, I've lost any sympathy.
Well, when it was 28-3 and you pounded the Patriots, that had to be like even if they made a comeback, there's no way they're going to cover that bet, right? Then it goes in overtime and you cover the bet.
Yeah, I mean, that is why that game, though, is the epitome of why you're not supposed to gamble. Like, Andrea, to give you an idea, if you bet the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, there was a moment where you and your money were ahead by 28 points with like literally like a 99.99991% chance of winning the game.
What?
A game that, just to put it in perspective, Andrea, when the Falcons were up 28-3 in the history of the NFL, teams that are up 28-3 have won 2,225 times and lost 4.
Whoa.
So
Right.
imagine how many guys in America
Wow.
bought a round of drinks for the entire bar.
God.
Like at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
This is why I don't gamble. I can't handle the emotional roller coaster. I just can't deal with it. It's too intense for me.
Yes, no, you're not supposed to. They're supposed to, like, every year, Skin, when they have, like, that, they have, like, lead week where the guys come to your school and lecture the kids about their vices and the things they've done wrong.
Yes.
They really should just play the Super Bowl and bring a guy in with his Amex receipt and let him show you his Amex receipt quarter by quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's the
Wow.
worst. And you want to know the saddest part of lead week in school is looking back on it. The guys who came in and talked about doing drugs and gambling, those guys who spoke to the class weren't a tenth as bad as I've been in my life. Like, it's sad to think about that.
Now, do you ever, the thing with gambling, and it's a weird thing for me, and maybe I want to get in your head a little on this, because I remember, like, I used to gamble when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I noticed it was when I had no money is when I gambled, because it was the only way that I had a chance to make money was through gambling.
Yeah, a lot of people do it.
Then I realized that the joy of winning money does not offset the pain of losing money. It's not an equal thing. I truly feel the pain of losing gambling money
cuts deeper.
Is so great. Like, I don't get the thrill of winning like if you put it on a scale, the pain of losing is way worse than the joy of winning. And eventually I was like, I can't stand this. The other thing that happened is when I started to have kids, it would be like Sunday at about 11:45 a.m. and you'd be pushing the kids in the stroller, going to brunch with the wife, and you're trying to get your bets in, and you're calling a bookie, and you're getting busy signal. She's like, "What the fuck? We're having this beautiful family thing, and you're on the phone yelling and screaming." And I finally said, "I can't do this anymore. I just can't do it." And I've been so happy. Guy misses a layup with 1 second left in a basketball game, or a guy misses a field goal now. Doesn't mean shit to me. I could care less. But a guy like Jimmy, he's all pissed off the next day.
Yeah, like when I take my kid to school in the morning, I'm like, listen, if Daddy starts speaking Mandarin at any point, just play along.
Exactly.
Pirate patch on my eye, fake mustache. There's a lot of that in the Fela house. Not proud. But I have reined it in. It is way more. It's more recreational now. It really is just entertainment. And I think to your point, having a kid really is the equalizer because you start to make decisions with other people's welfare in mind.
Well,
if you're a decent parent, I'm not saying that everyone does, but if you are a decent parent,
Well, how about this, Jimmy? So your kid has a play. And the whole family's going, the kid's all happy, and you're all good, and your team, and you just lost $500, and you're all pissed off at the play, and you don't enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff was happening to me, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't.
You see, that's the difference between you and me, though. I'm not allowed into the school plays anymore.
Okay, yeah,
it's like you start tipping at one dance recital. And you're the worst.
Jimmy.
You're the worst guy in the world. You know what I mean? What's the school paying these girls? Nothing, But yes, it's nice to be back. It's nice to see everybody.
Yeah,
am I allowed to mention that you have a Howard Stern appearance coming up, or am I not allowed to mention that?
No,
now that I've mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm going to be in studio Monday the 27th, the morning after the Oscars, and I'll be doing my 18th annual Anatomy Awards, and we'll be recording that. We'll do a podcast about the awards also.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm so excited. Listen, Jimmy, like you're a sports guy. This is like when you got called up to play for the Yankees. You know what I'm saying? It's like being on the Howard Stern show. I've been on his show probably 20, 25 times in my life, but every time I go there, I get butterflies. I think about it for weeks leading up to it. I fly out to New York, stay in my hotel, and I'm all nervous that I'm gonna oversleep my alarm, and I'm like, it's just like all this torture. But then when I'm finally done, it's the greatest thing to walk out of that studio. And I got to say, in all the times I've done the show, literally every single time I've walked out of there and Howard's been like, dude, that was awesome. You're welcome anytime. He always makes me feel great. Yet I'm still always nervous because I'm such a fan of the show that I want to do a good job because I don't want to be the shitty interview.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Of course. So, you want to be the guy that brings the heat. Well, it is. There's something to the fact that he's the only guy in radio that you just refer to him by his first name. Like if someone said, I'm doing Howard, everyone would know what you were talking about.
Yes.
Right.
If they said, I'm doing Elvis, like an Elvis Duran or somebody. I mean, in all honesty, if you said you were doing Elvis, they'd probably think you were having sex with Elvis Duran, because that's possible, because I think that's how he rolls.
Or Brucey. Cousin Brucey.
But I'm doing Cousin Brucey.
Well, but the other thing too is I have been doing a show so long, and I also am able to track instantly what the impact of his show has on my business.
Right.
So, and believe me, I go on a ton of shows. Like I'll do Howard, and then I'll do my Anatomy Awards on a bunch of other shows. And there's just no comparison to the amount of traffic, joins, money we make from my Howard appearance versus any other radio show.
To give you an idea, because I'm kind of versed in this. When my stand-up special came out, the first place I promoted it was the Howard wrap-up show. Gary greatest guy in the world, Gary Delabate, got me onto the show with him, John Hine.
I've always wanted to ask you before. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what's your connection? How did you get on that wrap-up show?
You know what? I met Gary because I write for and perform on a TV show, Gotham Comedy Live. It's on Access TV.
Okay.
And Gary hosted an episode. So, us being on the show together, we bullshit and, wrote a few jokes together and stuff like that. And he was nice enough to say, hey, when your special comes out, I'll get you on the wrap up. And he did. That great? And what I did strategically, though, Skin's very interesting, is my special at the time I was on his show had only been announced on his show. Meaning I hadn't done any TV yet. I hadn't done any other radio.
Right.
So the
this was
only people who knew that there was a special to get were his listeners. Mm-hmm. And literally, like, within 3 days of doing the show, like 10,000 people had listened to it. And now I know, and I was like, imagine I did good on the show.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, but it was
now,
good. But
can you guys both do the same thing for our podcast? So, Skin, mention the podcast.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely be mentioning it. Yeah, no question. And I'm also doing the wrap-up show, too.
I'm so proud of you guys.
It's so awesome.
Look at us,
it's
Skin.
so awesome.
That's so
Our
cool.
plan for world domination is all falling into place.
Yes.
Happy New Year. Did everybody quit their resolutions, or was it just me? I mean, I didn't make anything big, but I don't feel like I'm contributing anything to society.
I don't know. No comment.
How were the AVN Awards?
Andrea doesn't have to have resolutions. She's so skinny and in shape. Andrea just has to go on doing the same thing.
That is
Jimmy
funny.
and I, another story.
That is funny. A lingerie line called resolutions. Because you could look at it two ways. You motivate people. I think it's great. I think something we should think about as the show progresses. And how was Las Vegas? You guys had a wonderful time in Las Vegas without me?
Dude, it was epic.
Yeah, we had a great time. It was fun getting to interview all those people. And, Andrea, I feel bad that Jimmy missed the orgy we got to go to.
Stop it.
Well, it was kind of weird, Jimmy, though, because there was the girl-to-guy ratio was a little bit off, but the caliber of females that were there were so incredible. It was worth it. Wouldn't you say, Skin?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I mean, and when you host a podcast on the floor of AVN, you're pretty much invited to all the best orgies.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I was taking it from behind while giving it to the front. It was fucking epic.
Hold on, I feel like I'm missing out on something.
And it was great because
but I mean, how was it? What was going on when you drove your kid to school that day?
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. That's what I was doing. I was reading to the class. I was reading stories to the class, watching youth basketball. You guys were hitting the real shots. That's amazing. You know what? I want to say this. I'm not one of those guys who's built for Vegas anymore.
I understand that.
Gambling issues?
I understand that, though.
Do you get that, Andrea?
To a point where you're like, I've done this enough times. There's nothing else to do. I just want to leave.
Yeah, and I love it. I think it's an amazing place. Like I love being there. I love the energy of Vegas. But I've done that thing where I've come so close to death so many times in that town.
Yes,
that you just it's weird. You know, like when you stop trick or treating around like age 13.
Yeah,
you can technically still go. No one's gonna have a problem with you going. There's nothing wrong with it. But for some reason, you just don't need the candy anymore.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with Vegas.
I'm with you.
I hear you. Maybe we'll have a renaissance. But we should talk about other stuff today, right? What's going on in the world?
There's a lot going on. Again?
Yes, I wanted to get into the movie stuff, TV stuff, everything that happened over the weekend. But I did want to mention, because I forgot to mention this last week, we have the Peeper's Choice going on at our website right now. And I just want to call attention to it. Listen, we're always putting out some cool promos at MrSkin.com. And like I said, I have the Anatomy Awards coming out in a few weeks. But we've had the Peeper's Choice Awards up. And think about this if you're some guy maybe listening to the podcast or stumbling upon our website. So you get there and you see this thing, the Peeper's Choice, which is our... when I do the Anatomy Awards, that's kind of my call for what's the best in all the different body parts and fun categories. But for the Peeper's Choice, this is where we let all of our traffic, the people that come to our website, let's let them vote on who has the best breasts for the year, the best butt, best full frontal, celebrity nude debut, lesbian scene, TV show, all that stuff. So now, Jimmy, how about this? It's completely free. So let's say you get to the Peeper's Choice, you watch a really cool intro video.
Dude, it's so motherfucking hot. It actually got me turned on.
Yeah,
like I was squirming in my seat watching it. It's so fucking hot.
Yeah, well, it is. So then we put who we thought had the 5 best breasts for the year, and you get to watch their scene and vote on of the 5 actresses who has the best breasts, right? Now, just for doing this, just for looking at nudity for free, you are eligible to win, and Jimmy, you'll appreciate this, a 55-inch Samsung 4K TV.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is all the people that vote, and this is like, this really horrible thing where you got to watch all these great nude scenes and then vote. Just for voting, you don't pay any money. It's completely free. You are now eligible for a Samsung 55-inch 4K TV. So that's amazing. Now that's being a good guy, I think, is running a business. That's how you build an audience, right?
Yeah, you can watch this stuff in style. You know, that's the one thing we don't talk about a lot is that TVs have gotten so big and so good. We're really living not only in the golden age of porn, but in terms of porn viewing.
Well, Andrea, you told me, because you're a TV person, like this high def stuff, like how does that affect, you know, how you wear makeup and like how you're, like if you have one little blemish on your face, you're probably freaking out. 10, 15 years ago, it didn't matter, right?
Oh, no. Back in the day, you could be totally fucked up, haggard. I mean, still rolling on ecstasy, like while you're on TV, because it just was like, whatever, we'll put some makeup on her. You have to actually have people that know how to do makeup for HD, do HD shooting. And, it's like if you have any sort of little occlusion to your face, it's completely visible. Now, I personally have an 80-inch, 4K, whatever in my house. And
to watch Bravo.
I'm afraid to watch porn on it because I don't want to ruin porn for like when I want to watch it on my laptop. And two, I don't know that I want to see everything up that close and that big.
That's interesting.
So I honestly haven't even used it, even though I've been tempted several times. I really only look at like the Mr. Skin type content on there because, you know, it's pretty and it's this, it's that. But like the hardcore, like banging, I'm afraid to watch. If that even makes sense.
Yeah, well, on those TVs, you see, like, at some point, you're looking at a 4-foot penis.
That's what I don't want to see.
It looks like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like
scary, right?
It's probably the next thing after Sharknado. Like, there's gonna be one of those. Someone's gonna make one of those videos, like an Attack of the Killer Dick video. It's coming, and you know what's funny? All the people who did Sharknado will do that too.
Yeah.
Ian Ziering ain't saying no. His agent won't let him.
Ian Ziering. That's great. But anyway, so stop by if you want. You could do our Peeper's Choice, look at all the great categories, and be eligible for that TV. Andrea settles for nothing less than 80 inches, but we will be giving away a 55-inch Samsung 4K TV.
Let me tell you why, though. Having done morning television for years, we had an 80-inch monitor right behind our heads. So I got acclimated to seeing things that big. And then when I'd come home to my, you know, 2 different TVs, one was like, I don't know, maybe like, I could be wrong on the sizes, like a 47 and like a 55. I just felt like I was looking at like dwarves, you know? So it's like, it sucks. It's like once you go big, you can't go back. So my recommendation to people is don't go big unless you don't want to go back.
The funny thing with me is I was intentionally looking at dwarves. totally different experience.
Yeah.
But good times.
Well, anyway, so
the Peeper's Choice I'm super amped about.
So check it out at the website, the Peeper, MrSkin.com, the Peeper's Choice Awards. But I did want to get into, there was a big movie that opened in theaters this weekend. You guys probably know that 50 Shades Darker.
Right.
Yes.
The sequel to 2015's 50 Shades of Grey opened. And I got to tell you, it did pretty well at the box office this weekend. It did $46.8 million.
Whoa.
Wow.
And now it's the second in the trilogy. I don't know if you guys know this.
Trilogy? I had no idea there was a third one coming.
Trilogy, yeah.
Like, really though? Is it trilogy worthy? Like, when I think trilogy, I'm like, okay, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix. Like, really? 50 Shades?
Let me tell you. Let me give you an idea. The first 50 Shades, I think the budget was $40 million.
Yeah.
This did the first one did $175 million.
Okay.
Wow.
The second one that just opened this weekend did 46.8. So they're well on their way to another killer.
Wow! Don't underestimate. Don't underestimate the power of mommy porn.
Yeah,
true that.
I agree.
Good point, Jimmy.
Great mommy porn.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, now the other thing is that I think it's pretty safe to say that the kind of money the first 2 have made, that we can expect a third. They're going to do a third. So in a couple of years, there'll be more. But you know, just like the first one, Dakota Johnson, and here's what I say. I get it. The critics think this movie sucks.
Yeah.
A lot of people laugh about it and all that. People aren't crazy about it. But you know what? Anytime a mainstream movie could be out there with bondage, S&M, incredible nudity from the female lead. Even the guy, Jamie Dornan, in the first one showed some cock. And then this one, he only showed side pubage. But you know, the bottom line is, with all this nudity in a movie that makes a ton of money, I'm all for it. That's fantastic.
Right.
I couldn't be happier. And I always tell you guys, I could care less if a movie's good or bad. I truly can't. I just care that it has good celebrity nudity. And 50 Shades, the original was awesome, and 50 Shades Darker is just as good.
It delivers. Yeah, you don't go to this looking to win an Oscar.
No,
you're going for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
And I do think it has, they use this term now where they're like, we normalized something. I think this is an instance of them normalizing something good. I think our country would benefit if we became more like Europe. Because everything's like the people are having sex in Pepsi commercials in Europe. It's outrageous.
I mean, you open the newspaper and there's the page 3 girls or whatever it's called. It's like it's part of the culture. It's like nudity is not a big deal.
Well,
the first time, go ahead.
Well, think about it. People aren't freaking out and becoming incredible pervs in Europe, or there isn't all this social decadence or anything.
No, they're just used to it.
They're just listen, so what? The bottom line is it proves that if you had nudity in commercials here, the world would be fine.
If anything, maybe we'd all calm down a little. You know, listen, the first time I learned about analingus, I was watching a McDonald's commercial in France.
It was 2 all beef patties.
Yeah, so someone was just eating a McDonald's burger is what you're saying?
Griff was making the Hamburglar pay for his transgressions.
On the other hand, I have to think that because we're so puritanical here, that maybe that's good for business.
That's true.
So
maybe
if like nudity was super easy to find and it was no big deal if a celebrity showed her tatas, that might be bad for business.
Good point, Skin. We're the guys who own the speakeasy who are trying to get liquor legalized. Right. Dumb move. You're right. I take it back.
Be careful what you wish for. But I will now, Jimmy and Andrew, you do know that Dakota Johnson is the daughter of Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so it's always fun, and we do have Mother's Day around the corner coming up in a month or so, and or 2 months. But always fun when I do whip out my playlist of famous moms and daughters who have both been naked, Melanie Griffith and Dakota Johnson. And don't forget, Tippi Hedren was their the actress from The Birds. Was Melanie Griffith's mom. Now, Tippi Hedren never got naked, but that would be cool if you had a grandma.
3 generations of titties.
Yeah, 3 generations, right. But Tippi Hedren was in her bra in the Herod Experiment, but she never did a nude scene. She was very sexy in it, though.
Well,
very,
for that time, that era, it wasn't common to do a nude scene at all, right? So I think being in lingerie would be considered the equivalent of today's topless scene, right?
Being in your bra in the 60s was like the 70s nude scene, pretty much. There was nudity in the 60s, but it didn't really take off until the late 60s, where you saw it in mainstream movies like Midnight Cowboy and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It was, but then the 70s, it was crazy what was going on in the 70s. Think about Billy Jack and stuff like that, Jimmy, when the kind of nudity you would see, there was nudity in the 70s that you couldn't do today. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like we have a lot of nudity in movies and television, but when you think about the stuff that happened with all the Death Wish rapes and the Billy Jack with 14-year-old girl being naked in bed, or 12-year-old, I don't know what the heck age she was, but I mean the stuff they did.
Officer.
I think she was 13 years old or something in Billy Jack, and they showed her naked. It's like the stuff they did in the 70s was so different than what you do today.
Yeah,
it's another world. It was another world. What we're doing now, I think, again, I don't want to advocate for anything that hurts the skin empire, but I do think society would benefit if we just had it out there, because we'd remember that that's what we enjoy the most. I feel like somehow we've forgotten that. That's, I think we'd have a calmer society. That's all we need. Yeah. We need more beer commercials and more nudity.
Nudity is the universal language, Jimmy. Yes. Everyone loves nudity.
So. That's
Preach
what
it
is.
On it, Skin. Yes.
Yeah. Skin, I worked with a singer recently who told me that she worked on a cruise ship. And the cruise ship, because it's international and everybody there's from all over the world, she said that they referred to hooking up as diplomatic relations. That they couldn't all speak the same language, but everybody obviously identified with that for diplomatic relations. And yes, I think that's what the world needs now. Isn't that what they say? Love, sweet love.
Yes.
Maybe it's anal, sweet anal. Or however you want to rewrite
I've never hooked up with someone that couldn't speak English.
Ooh, I'm trying to think if that's happened to me.
No, that we were not having some back and forth, because what if she was saying no?
The good thing is no is the same in every language almost.
How do you say no in Swedish?
That's funny. That's the kind of establishments I frequent. I've never hooked up with anyone who could.
Yeah, right.
It's totally different.
Me love you long time. Right.
Yeah, we're talking about a totally different life experience here.
Yeah. But they know some words. They know some words. So anyway, that was the big movie over the weekend. But yeah, I was happy that 50 Shades did so well at the box office, and it's so funny because you look at all the Rotten Tomatoes and all the ratings. Everything's like a 4 out of 10. Yet it's doing almost $50 million this weekend. So
crazy.
Anyway, that was movie stuff. But there was some cool TV things over the weekend I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
First, this is a weird two things from Saturday Night Live I wanted to bring up. I know everyone knows about the Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
She returned this weekend as an even more frustrated Sean Spicer. But there was a great scene during that bit where Sean Spicer was mad at one of the reporters. It was played by Cecily. How do you say that?
Cecily Strong.
Cecily Strong, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I didn't see this coming, and it was weird. He took a
leaf blower?
He took a leaf blower and started blowing it at her face, and then went under the skirt and did like the Marilyn Monroe, over the. And even though she was wearing granny panties, I still thought it was very, very hot. It just for some reason turned me on. I was like, I got to talk about this on the air.
She's got great legs.
I just think that there was something about that just drove me nuts, and I love this.
You know what it was, Skin?
Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I got nothing. You go.
I was going to say, anytime there's an upskirt anything, whether it's a leaf blower, a sidewalk vent, a voyeuristic kind of peep up, anytime we see panties under a skirt, no matter what the circumstance, it's automatically just like, oh my God. There's something very naughty, even though it's not even explicit. That's just lovely.
And you know what it is?
What?
To her point, it's the fact that you weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it just fell out of the night sky and landed in front of you.
Yeah, and there's something about women wearing skirts too that already kind of makes you wonder, like, what is under that skirt? And then when you see it, it's just so rewarding.
Right. Well, and normally is for SNL, in the history of SNL, there really hasn't been like nip slips or obviously nudity. So when you see something like this, it's extra shocking because you just don't expect this on SNL. Anything. They're pretty careful on the sex when it comes to SNL as far as what the women show on the TV series through the years. Yeah. So anyway, I really dug that. I just wanted to show it to you guys, and we'll obviously have the pics if you come over and check it out at MrSkinPodcast.com. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention that was so cool. I didn't even notice it over the weekend. It was when I came into work and one of my skin guys posted this in our message communication through the office. So at the closing credits of Saturday Night Live, Pete Davidson, who's like one of my favorite cast members, is wearing a Mr. Skin shirt on stage when they're all shaking hands and saying, I mean, do you know Pete, Jimmy?
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and say I know him, and I've done
you do?
I've probably done about 25 shows with him in my life, and I had nothing to do with this. Nothing at all.
I'll tell you how he got the shirt. No,
how did you acquire this shirt? Is this something people can buy online? Like,
I mean, I can tell you right off the bat, there's no way mine would fit him. If he was wearing mine, it would look like some kid brought in their dad's T-shirt for a smock in art class.
Are you saying you're fat, or are you saying he's petite?
A double XL. Yeah.
Well, a little of both, Lowell.
Well, and I'm very happy that, the ratings for SNL are the highest they've been since the 90s. So this was good promotion for MrSkin.com. But anyway, so here's what happened. So I don't know if you remember last year, there was a bit, I think Melissa McCarthy was in the bit, and it was in like February last year, and Pete Davidson played the son, and they were watching television, and all of a sudden a nude scene came on, and the dad mentioned Bobby Moynihan mentioned that you could see it on SN, or you could see it at MrSkin.com, the nude scene. All of a sudden I'm in Arizona, and the show hadn't aired yet, and I'm getting all these text messages, they mentioned Mr. Skin on the show. So after that happened, I was like, fuck, that's awesome. So we sent Bobby Moynihan and Pete Davidson Mr. Skin hats and T-shirts. I was like, hey, man, thanks so much for mentioning, the website, even though it's probably the writers that did it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And that, like a week or two later, Pete Davidson on Instagram posted a picture of himself wearing a Mr. Skin hat, which was really cool. That was just to his friend, like, hey, look what Mr. Skin sent me. And it was just, a behind the scenes thing. But then on stage at the end of the show Saturday, he's wearing this cool Mr. Skin Gray shirt. So anyway, it was very flattering and very cool. And like I said, I'm a big Pete Davidson fan, so that's really neat that he was wearing the Mr. Skin swag on SNL.
Wow, you're quietly, not even quietly, because you're everywhere, but you are infiltrating every new realm of pop culture, Skin. How long before the Ellen DeGeneres Mr. Skin plug?
Want to take bets, Jimmy? Over, under? I want to know,
Mr. Skin Merkin on Ellen DeGeneres.
I really want some of these clothing items. Do you have, for real, an online store?
You know what? It's funny you say this. My wife was just getting on me.
I need a shirt like this.
What happened is we make these runs, and then I give them to all my friends, and then we give them away at shows and stuff, and then we get low, and then we are always saying, we'll design some new shirts and get on it. But I have to do it very soon, and I will totally hook you guys up with new stuff. We have great design. Our designer designed them. We just haven't physically ordered them, but I'm on the case. We'll make sure it happens.
Yeah, that shirt is a home run, man.
I love it. Cool shirt. I don't even think you need to change the design. Keep it consistent across the board. I mean, your logo is, wonderful, as you know. I'm like, I just want that shirt. A woman, I just want to buy. So, where can I get some online shopping done?
Love it, Skin.
Andrea, I'll definitely hook you up because we have men's stuff, but I also have some cool women's Mr. Skin swag, which we will get out to you.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's your size 0 still, Andrea?
0 or an extra small, baby,
Is that true? Of course. That is
Can you imagine, funny. Jimmy? What's a 0 on you right now, Jimmy?
Yeah, no, I'll take the refrigerator Perry if you have that.
Anyway, so that's my SNL stuff, but then the other thing I wanted to mention was Girls Season 6 premiered. The final season, Episode 1, premiered Sunday night. I did watch this with my wife. Mm-hmm. Usually I usually have to catch it the next day because there's so much stuff going on. Now that football's over and all that, I have my Sundays are a little more open. So I watched it, and I got to tell you, man, they loaded up with the nude. This show, I know people make fun of Lena Dunham's body, and they rip on her political views and all that. But I'll tell you what about this show. As far as nudity goes, it's been a groundbreaking show. They've done some stuff that has been so good for my business, but also just cool that they've pushed the envelope to this extent. But let me start with last night. So Lena Dunham hooks up with this surfer guy, and she's naked a ton, and I get it, not the hottest girl in the world, but hey, she was full frontal, she was having sex, she was getting it from behind, the whole thing, very graphic stuff, and she was nude. But one that was really neat or really sexy in my opinion was Jemima Kirk. So she's living with Adam Driver as the season opens, and I forget the name of the guy that walked in on him, but Adam Driver's roommate, who's supposed to be living there, this guy walks in, and she is sitting completely naked. Jemima Kirk is sitting completely naked on a couch eating yogurt. And the scene goes on for like 5 minutes, and they're talking to her. She's so comfortable, doesn't care. Some guy just walked in. She doesn't cover up or anything. And then eventually she gets up and walks to the bedroom, and you get a great full frontal shot. But what a great nude scene. And by the way, she's Simon Kirk, the drummer from Bad Company's daughter.
Oh, cool.
In real life. Yeah. So really a great nude scene from Girls last night from both Lena Dunham and Jemima Kirk.
Yeah, Jemima Kirk reminds me a little bit of Hayden Panettiere. A little bit.
Yes, I was going to say that. Yeah. I was going to say that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like
spot on.
Yeah, Hayden Panettiere never naked, by the way.
I haven't forgiven Adam Driver for ruining the last Star Wars. Him as the Darth Vader character. He reminded me of Rick Moranis in Spaceballs.
Oh, jeez.
It really took me out of my element.
Yeah, you're not alone. A lot of guys aren't too crazy about him, but he does get to bang hot chicks on this show on a regular basis.
Did he step in it or what, man? I mean, think about this. He was a guy who did, military time, and certainly we appreciate the heck out of that, and stepped out of the military.
He was a military guy?
Yeah, he came out at like age 27 and started acting and landed a role in this, which is like
crazy.
This is as much fun as you can have in an acting gig.
Was he like a Marine or something? Like a real Marine type of thing? It
might have been Navy. Yeah. I think it was Navy or Air Force. I don't think it was anything on the ground.
Okay.
And I'll look it up. But I was reading about that last year during the run up to that Star Wars. And what a home run gig. And we're talking about how I think he started acting at like 27, and just here we are. I mean, that is a home run gig.
Yeah.
even like the Lena Dunham stuff. You know what's funny about guys is like people criticize her. Like she doesn't have the kind of body that it's trendy to say you like. Mm-hmm. But when that thing is naked in front of you, every guy
eyes are glued.
Diving in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing ball. You know
I've
what
done
I mean?
a lot worse. I've done a lot worse.
I love you, Stan.
Oh my God, my
haven't done much
resume.
Better.
If my resume could talk, I'm not proud of that thing. I'm not proud of that thing after Denny's at 3 a.m. By the way, yeah.
We all had a few Denny's at 3 after the morning. Little moons over my hammy.
Slam breakfast. Oh boy, did I strike out after the Grand Slam breakfast? Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. Anyway, so
oh man.
And by the way, before I forget, Allison Williams, who is Brian Williams' daughter, and another girl on the show, did have a scene where she was on the toilet, and again, they just throw this in. She didn't have to be on the toilet, but Allison Williams on the toilet, strategically covered. You can't really see anything, but I'm a big fan of what I like to call them poop tarts, girls that are nude on the toilet. And I remember like Rachel Miner in Bully was a great nude scene where she is naked going to the bathroom. Naomi Watts in a movie called Ellie Parker's another good one. You'll like this, Jimmy. Remember Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years?
Yes,
do you remember her?
Winnie.
Yeah, she did a movie called Sex in the Teenage Mind where she's sitting on a toilet, and it's kind of like the Allison Williams where it's strategic, but still pretty sexy stuff. So anyway, to me, I like that. It's a little not for everyone, but those are 3 of my on the toilet scenes in honor of Allison Williams from last night that I like.
Oh,
it's so funny. The still that's on our podcast page, the MrSkinPodcast.com, it actually looks like it was taken through a camera she doesn't know is in the wall.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know. And it really works for me. I don't know why. I just learned a lot about myself. If anybody needs me, I'll be at the Home Depot.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, so it was a good night. It was a good night on girls, and I'm excited that there's going to be a lot more, obviously, this season. But real quick, think of these great moments in girls' history that, whether you think they're sexy or not, still like groundbreaking, incredible nude scenes. How can we forget last season Lena Dunham's Basic Instinct leg cross? Jimmy, when Sharon Stone did her leg cross, she like opened her legs and then quickly closed them.
Right.
Lena Dunham did the opposite.
She just splayed it out.
Open it and just spread them and just let it stay. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing what Lena Dunham did last season, and very daring, even for Lena Dunham in that scene.
Yes.
Just a Sharon Stone badge.
Very bold
exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one great thing. Can we not forget from season 2 the famous pearl necklace scene with Shiri Appleby, where Adam Driver is banging her, pulls out and unloads a monster load on her chest, and Andrea and I have talked about this, but Jimmy, you don't. Yeah, we have. But Jimmy, you don't see in R-rated movies or
money shot ever.
You don't see money shots. You rarely do. I mean, they happen, but very, very rare. And to be on HBO on a show about a bunch of girls is pretty incredible. So
this is groundbreaking.
Yeah, that was the Shiri Appleby pearl necklace, and Shiri Appleby was on Roswell, the television show. She's beautiful. Yep. It was her debut nude scene, so that was cool. And then, last but not least, how do we forget the famous ass eating from season 4, where Allison Williams was getting her ass eaten out by her boyfriend? And by the way, what they did, and you forget about this, when they released season 4 on Blu-ray last year, they included a behind the scenes, no pun intended, of the ass eating scene, and it's Allison Williams like mugging to the camera while the guy's like got his eyes like cracked,
kind of at her asshole, like, but you can't tell.
Oh my God, yeah, it's unbelievable, and I actually think there's something even more sexy about the behind the scenes and mugging to the camera than the actual scene.
Yeah, you know why? Because it's just like they're so at ease around the act.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works. Like when you're watching a porno and they're just having like a conversation with the camera. Because it's kind of it's bringing you further into what you're watching. Like when you watch it on film or edited as part of the show, it's just like something you're watching on the screen. But when you see a candid, it's like you're a part of it.
Right.
I
know.
Weird. It's great. And I've read where Brian Williams, her dad said he's never watched that scene, which I don't believe, because I had heard that he was at the premiere of that season, because they did a premiere at a theater somewhere, and supposedly he was there, so I don't know how he couldn't see it, but whatever.
Well, look, it's not like Brian Williams would ever lie.
So that's true. I think CP, the EP, said, do we have a clip of that audio?
Yeah, it's a real short clip.
Oh, yeah, let's listen to it real quick, a little ass eating.
I'm gonna finish when she comes. Hey, what a good guy.
So is that from the behind the scenes?
That's got to be the outtakes, yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool.
He's talking about how he's going to eat her out till she comes.
Love it.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, so this is why I say, like, again, how people make fun of Lena Dunham and all that, but Girls has been, I'll miss it when it's done, especially what I get to do for a living, because it's been a great show for nudity and groundbreaking in many ways when it comes to great moments in skin.
But we know something new and amazing will come out, because it always does, and we're always pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, what do we got? Over 100 shows I'm tracking right now that actually have nudity, that are ongoing TV series. And by the way, Netflix has the most shows right now of any that have nudity, even more than HBO. It's incredible. Yeah.
Wait, more than Nickelodeon?
Just a few, but yeah.
more than Nickelodeon. Yeah.
Hey.
So, yeah. But hey, last but not least, because we got to wrap this up for the week, but the Young Pope has been airing. Jimmy, do you know about this show on HBO with Jude Law?
Yes, through doing this podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm now actually just watching the show now. Like, this started with me watching clips on the prep site.
Right.
But yeah, I'm in now. Now I'm a card-carrying member.
Nice.
Jude Law plays the first American Pope, and I can't think of a time this has happened on a major network, but this whole first season aired in Europe last year. So, my Skin International division was all over this. So we had all the nudity and all the clips last year. And then it came here starting in January and aired on HBO. Yep. So they're going, episode by episode on HBO. So we knew all this was coming, no pun intended. But in the 6th episode this weekend, Raina Tharani, who is this ridiculously gorgeous girl,
she's perfect.
Has a 3-way with, I think it's a cardinal and a priest, but they're definitely 2 religious figures. And Jimmy, she is being DP'd, and I know you are
as they say.
Yeah, I know you're a man who's been around the block a few times, but you know what a DP is. And I got to say, like, on HBO, a DP, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
You don't get a lot of that. I mean, that's a crowded house right there. And do you want to laugh? The first 3 times I watched this clip on our site,
that's already hilarious.
I know it. Well, what happened
the first
was,
3 times there was actually 1,000.
Skin Eye. That's funny. I didn't even notice that's what it was.
What the fuck did you think it was?
Watching. No, you know why, Andrea? Because you're just watching the rhythm between the top 2.
Yes.
And you're not even looking for those bottom legs.
Because, you don't expect it. You're supposed to see 2 people kind of grinding, and then when you see that third set of legs popping out, you're like, oh, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, it's like a Rorschach test. It's like a Rorschach test. You see what you want.
Totally.
Yeah, it is.
I see a butterfly.
When you first see it, you think the lighter skinned guy is just doing hitting her from behind, but then you see, wait, what are those other legs doing under there? So there's a lot going on, but yeah, she's being DP'd.
Cool.
And, this is going on. So with all the, in January we had all the football and the girls starting. I don't know if a lot of people know what's going on with the Young Pope, but this is happening on HBO, and we're all over it at MrSkin.com.
Love it.
We'll be talking a lot more, because they had a lot of good nudity in the first season, and there's still some episodes to go.
Yo, man, poping ain't easy.
No,
poping is not easy.
Poping ain't easy. So anyway, it's a good way. So so we'll obviously got some cool stuff to talk about next week, and then we have the Anatomy Awards coming up, which I'll be going over with you guys. So a lot of fun stuff in February, and
excellent.
We'll have a lot to talk about.
We're looking forward to it.
Times. It was nice to get back together again, man. I missed you guys.
We really
so
did.
Much fun.
Yeah, we need our third leg.
We need our third partner in this threesome. It's like an audio DP.
That's funny.
I'll be in the middle.
I just hope I'm either at the top or the bottom. Yeah.
We ain't topping that. That was a lot of fun. But yes, thanks everybody for listening.
Absolutely.
Let's do it again in a week. What do you say?
I'm
in. Got it, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.